Welcome back to my channel. We're in the living room today because I'm trying to find a light spot. It's so dark and cold today, and yeah, I'm hoping that this might be decent enough light for me to film, but we'll see. So today on my non-child friendly channel, she says wearing a stitched jumper. That was a really bad move, wasn't it? Didn't think that through. Anyway, we are going to do the good doll, bad doll tag, which was started by the Dollitarium. Hello. So I have my wine glass here, and I have my wine. This is not what's in the glass. This is unopened. I thought I'd start a new little segment. What can I find in the back of my wine cupboard today? This is today's offering. Look at this. Matthias Rosé. This is a true 1970s classic. It's just a little miniature bottle. I can't even remember why we bought this. It's not an original 1970s bottle, sadly. And it is a small one. If it was a proper full-size one, it would have a lampshade on it. And if, like me, you were brought up in the 1970s and you are British, you'll get that joke. Anyway, yeah, Matthias Rosé. So that's just going to sit there, and we'll see how we go. I might move the wine glass off because I've got some things to show you. But yes, the good doll, bad doll tag. So this is where you talk about your Grail doll as a child, and did you have it? Did you ever get it? Are you still looking? Have you got it recently? And what dolls don't you like? Just not because you don't like the company or the artist, or just what dolls don't appeal to you. So I've watched various people's tag videos on this. Hopefully I've seen everyone that's done it. I've seen them. And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, there wasn't really that many dolls to choose from when I was growing up in the 1970s. But then I watched Shell's good doll, bad doll tag video, and I watched it like this. Because she kept mentioning dolls that she'd wanted when she was a child, and I'd never heard of them. And I thought, I've missed out here. This is terrible. I didn't realise I had such a deprived childhood. I only knew about 6 dolls I could think of that I knew of when I was a child. And when I'd finished watching her video, I went onto Google Images and I looked up these dolls. These are the dolls I looked up that she mentioned, as she might have mentioned more, but Katie Copycat doll, Penny Puppy Walker doll, and then there was something called Dusty doll and Daisy doll. Well, I looked up these dolls and I instantly felt much better because, yeah, I hadn't missed out. These were terrible, ugly dolls. I mean, Shell herself said that she'd got hold of them later in life and been terribly disappointed, and I could see why. So I kind of felt better then, because, you know, I thought my childhood wasn't such a letdown after all. But anyway, yeah. But it did get me thinking, why did I not know about these dolls? Why had I never heard of them? And I thought to myself, it must be one of 2 reasons: geography and my mother. I shall explain. Geography. I live, as I have said before, in Devon, and I was born here and brought up here. I haven't always lived here, but I certainly had my childhood here. And Devon is not the most happening county in England. Yeah, it's got a bit of a bad reputation, unfair reputation, I should say, because people who've not been here seem to think that we're all farmers. I don't know why this is, because every county in England has farmers, lots of farmers. I don't know, maybe Devon has more, but we're not all farmers. And there's a bit of a joke that we all choose straw and we say ooh ah all day long. It's not the case. I've never lived on a farm, or indeed in a country village or anything remotely like the countryside. I've always lived in a town or the city here in Devon. Yeah, but these things, every place has its reputations, doesn't it? But it's not the most happening of places. It's not on the way to London, so you wouldn't drive through it if you were going to London, unless you were going from Cornwall, which is the only other county in England that's further west than us. Yeah, so consequently, it's only been recently that we've sort of got a few more happening shops in our city centres and designer shops and that sort of thing. And certainly in the 1970s, we didn't really have. We had department stores, of course, because they were in every town and city in the country. But we didn't necessarily get all the latest things. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's because we, and I say we, I'm talking about my family, but lots of families, we were not very well off in the 1970s. And we didn't go shopping for toys just because it was Saturday and we wanted something to do. That never happened. The only time I got toys as a child was if it was my birthday or Christmas. That was it. So there wasn't a lot of shopping around for toys and that sort of thing. We did have a couple of toy shops here in the town where I live, but again, they were quite small, so they didn't stock everything. They just, I guess, stocked the most popular things, which are probably the ones I'd heard of. The other reason I may not have heard of these things, which I said, was my mother. And that is because my mother, oh, mothers, mothers. My mother, she's a strange woman. No, she's not. She's great. But she is a very wise woman, I should say, really. Yeah. And actually, I've become quite like her. So I guess I'm strange too. We only had 3 television channels in the 1970s growing up. BBC One, BBC Two and ITV. No adverts on the BBC channels, of course, and there still isn't. That's what we pay our TV licence for. So the only channel with adverts on was ITV. No children's channels. 2 hours of children's television programmes on BBC One and ITV after school. And of course it was at the same time. So when you watched one or the other. And we were only allowed to watch a BBC. And my mum always used to say it's because the programmes were of a better standard, which I think she's probably right. But mainly because there were no adverts. And this is why she's a very wise woman, because since becoming a mother myself, I have learnt that if your children watch the children's channels with adverts on, then all you will hear is, can I have this? Can I have that? I want this, I want that. Yeah. So we didn't watch the adverts. And so we didn't see lots of things. I'm wondering what else has passed me by from the 1970s that I never knew existed. Anyway, so that's that. What I did know about in the 1970s, the dolls I did know about, were baby dolls. There was something called Baby Alive or something. I might have got that name wrong. I didn't. Oh, I don't know. Never had her. Then there was Tiny Tears and Teeny Tiny Tears, which Teeny Tiny Tears was just a smaller version of Tiny Tears, and I had the Teeny Tiny Tears. She was the one that you could put the water in a bottle, make her drink it, and then make her wee, but I wasn't allowed to do that either. No, see, my mum, very wise, didn't want manky, mouldy dolls around the house. Well done, good decision. And then fashion dolls, of course. Now, until I had heard of Dusty and Daisy, the only ones I knew existed were Pippa dolls, Cindy dolls, and Barbie dolls. Now, Pippa doll. Pippa was like a starter Cindy, I suppose. She was smaller, this big maybe. And you could get all sorts of things for her. I had 4 of them all together. I had Pippa, Tammy, Brit, and Jasmine. And I had a horse for them and various clothes. And they were great and I liked them. But what I really wanted was a Cindy. And I got my ballerina Cindy one Christmas. And it's a Christmas I will never forget. It was the best Christmas ever. Yeah, my ballerina Cindy. And over the years, on birthday and Christmas, I would be given clothes for her, and I had a horse for her, some bedroom stuff, and I had a buggy car thing with a tent. Yeah, I collected stuff for her for many years, and I played with her for years and years and years. And I did get a second one. I saved up some birthday money and I bought a second Cindy. I wanted a brunette because my ballerina Cindy was blonde. I wanted a brunette, of course. Saved up my money, went to the shop in town, and because it was only a tiny shop, they only had blonde ones. So did I wait for another day when they would have a brunette in? No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. I was a child. I had money. I wanted a doll. I wasn't leaving that shop without a doll. So I bought a second blonde one. So there we are. However, that tale is not over. Barbie, I have to say, Barbie was not allowed in our house. My mother did not approve of Barbie. No. She never offered an explanation because back then parents didn't have to tell their children why they decided something. They just said, this is what's happening and you had to lump it. I did subsequently ask her when I was a grown-up, why didn't you like Barbie, Mum? And she couldn't offer me any explanation. So I came to the conclusion that she just had taken against Barbie for some reason. And being the woman she is, once she's taken against something, nothing is going to change her mind. So there we are. So yeah, that was it. So my Grail doll. My Grail doll was Cindy. And I had 2 Cindys, as I've said, 2 blonde Cindys, and I always wanted a brunette. And I did go back to my parents' house a couple of years ago to retrieve my Cindys and their clothes because I was getting into dolls again and I thought I'd like to relive my youth, I suppose. But both my Cindys were a little bit worse for wear. The ballerina one had broken. I'd snapped her hand off and it had been glued back on and various things. She was very fragile, so I decided to leave her where she was. And my other Cindy that I'd saved up for had gone all very yellow. So I retrieved my Cindy clothes and I went onto the good old eBay, and I bought myself my missing Grail doll, which was a brunette Cindy. So here she is. She's wearing an original outfit of mine from when I was a child. And I shall show you something now which will explain a lot about me as a person. These are my original Cindy outfits from my childhood as I kept them as a child in their original packets. Every single one. That's a later one, that packaging. I got some really early ones like that. Wedding Cindy. Yes, I was that child. I kept all the outfits in their packets and I never took down my Cindy's hair. Look at that, that's an old packet. Another one. Yep, I kept my Cindy's really, really nicely and I did play with them every single day, every day. But I know some of you are cheering me right now when you see that, and others of you are saying, she's a freak. Anyway, there was one thing though that was a Grail item. It's not a doll, so I hope I can be forgiven. It's related. It's something of Cindy's that I always wanted and I never got, and that was her townhouse. We always used to go and see my granny every Saturday afternoon, and she had the Freeman's catalogue, which is a mail order catalogue, still going, I believe. And we didn't have the internet, obviously. We didn't have computers. So what we did was we looked at these catalogues for entertainment, and I would just go over there and stare at the Cindy townhouse for hours. And this must have been the late 70s, early 80s sort of time, and that thing cost £99. That was a huge amount of money back then. I mean, no wonder I never got it. It's £99. I used to look at it, and my mum knew I desperately wanted it, and I said, "Oh, please, can I have it for Christmas, Mum?" And she was like, "Oh, we can't afford that." Yeah, I never got it, but she did. What they did was they made me a bedroom for my Cindy out of a cardboard box, and they wallpapered it and put a bit of old carpet in it, and then I put all my Cindy bedroom furniture in that, and I played with that for years. Yeah, brilliant, loved it. So that was my my good doll. The only other doll I could think of from that time, from my childhood, that I really ever wanted and never got was we went to a place called Devon Pearl. Now, it doesn't exist anymore, and I did try and look it up the other day, and nothing came up. I don't remember much about this place, except we looked around and they were doing something with pearls, so it must have been on the coast somewhere. It's quite a big place. And then what I do remember about it is a gift shop, obviously, which was full of jewellery, naturally. But the thing I remembered was they had in this gift shop, sorry, I'm trying to get comfy because I'm on the floor. Oh, God, shouldn't be allowed at my age. They had a Pierrot doll. I'm just going to put Cindy down as well. They had a Pierrot doll. Now, it wasn't the traditional black and white Pierrot doll with the painted head. I wasn't that keen on those. But it was a peach and cream one with a clown hat thing, and its costume had pearls on it. Oh God, it was beautiful. It was the most beautiful thing. And funnily enough, this must be a thing with me, because this doll was £99 as well. So I knew I wasn't getting it, and I stood there for ages, and I was trying to work out, would Mum let me take some money out of my Building Society account? And I knew she wouldn't. Anyway, eventually we spotted that they had some miniature ones. So I was allowed to buy one of those, but I never really was that taken with the miniature one, and years later I got rid of it, so I can't even show it to you now, but because it was just that big, beautiful doll was all I wanted. Anyway, I did, having watched everybody else's videos and how people were going onto eBay and things and finding their lost childhood toys, I did go onto eBay and search for peach and cream, Pierrot doll, pearls, all the everything I could think of. No, couldn't find it. Nothing even remotely like it. So there we go. I fear that one will live on in my memory only, but there we are. Cheers to my lost Pierrot doll. Right, now we come to the bad doll part. This is going to be much quicker. You'll be glad to hear. Bad dolls. Okay. I don't like spooky dolls, and I mean those ones that are made to look scary. I don't like those. I'm just not into scary stuff, full stop. I don't like horror films. Talking of scary stuff and all, Chucky, get that thing away from me. No, I hate Chucky. Sorry if you like Chucky. That's fine. But it's not for me. I've never watched a Chucky film. I don't need to watch a Chucky film to be scared. The doll alone will do it for me. No, I just don't like him. So, no, anything like that. I don't mind old dolls, but I don't really want any in my house. You know, I did a cracked face on one of my BJD heads that I was practicing on a while ago, and I did say at the time I quite like a cracked face doll, but I only like them if they're new dolls that have been made to look old and artificially cracked or drawn. And some of you will be horrified by that. There is a reason for it, and it's not because I think old things are haunted, because I don't believe in any of that. No, I don't. And if they are haunted, I don't believe that they are malevolent. I've seen too many dead people. Dead people can't hurt you. It's a germ thing. So it's a nursey germ thing. I don't like old dolls because I'm a bit concerned what they might be carrying germ wise. So yes, I know I bought this one, and she's 30, 40 years old, she's from the 1980s, and that's fine. I've taken her in and given her a little wash off, and I have accepted her as my own. And I do buy second-hand things that are newer, but old dolls I'm not so sure about. So yeah, I think it's a nursing thing. I know I used to have quite a lot to do with infection control in my job, and this will surprise no one, having seen how I kept my doll clothes as a child, but I once won a prize for my hand washing technique. Yes, because I am that fastidious. I know, what can I say? It's just me. It's one of my quirks. I'm a doll person. You knew I was weird. Collect dolls. So yes, I don't really like dolls that are too old. But that's that. Yeah, spooky dolls are my main turn off. Yeah, don't like those. Anyway, I did want to say thank you to everyone who watched my last video and commented. Sorry I didn't reply to some of your comments sooner, but YouTube didn't notify me that you'd commented, and one or two don't even appear under my video. So I'm not sure what's happened there, but I think I've caught up and replied to everyone now. So my sincere apologies if I haven't. I have watched a few more videos about what's going on with YouTube since then, and I'd like to be able to tell you that I've got it all straight in my head now, and that yes, I understand it all, but of course I don't, because I think basically YouTube themselves don't know what's going on, do they? I mean, it just seems to me that people are being given different advice, and yeah. So I'm just going to carry on with my wine glass and my what can I find in the back of my wine cupboard today. This is going straight back in, incidentally, unopened. I mean, if anybody's ever drunk this, you'll know it's hideous. I mean, we thought it was the height of sophistication in the 1970s and 80s, but no, it's actually not very nice at all. No wonder they made them into lampshades. Anyway, I shall just carry on as I am for now, and as we all are, and see what happens. Right. Thanks for the tag, Dollitarium. It was a good one. I've managed to witter on for 25 minutes. I always think I'm going to make a quick video. It doesn't happen, does it? Cindy and I would like to say goodbye, and thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you all again soon. Bye-bye.